Well, Glen Darcey, you've been a popular man here at Knobcon, or at least your Hydrasynth has been a popular synth.
Yeah, the Hydrasynth, not me so much.
Well, you know, it's kind of made a big splash, and I know that a lot of people want to know a lot of things about it. Let's just start. What's the basic idea behind this? Because this is not, you're not trying to emulate something that's been around before. You're not trying to be an analog thing. This is a digital synthesizer, and it's coming in saying, I'm digital.
Yeah, well, you know, our slogan's digital's the new analog. We want to make digital cool. And if you really look around this show, especially, most of the modules that you're seeing in the modular world, all the really cool stuff that's coming out is the digital stuff that's happening. So there is kind of a movement within the modular community, at least, of interesting digital modules. But digital synths kind of go back to my heart and soul. I started off as an analog guy, and then the Fairlights and Synclaviers and PPGs and all that stuff came out when I was a starving student, and I could only dream of those kind of things. So you're going to find PPG influences, CS80 influences, kind of a lot of the background. I probably should also have my product manager Dominic in here. He's over there talking with somebody right now, though. Dominic, he's also an analog synth guy. We're both plug-in users. Part of what Dominic originally wanted to do is, you've got these great plug-ins and lots of great power and stuff, and nobody's really taken a lot of that into what hardware can do. Or if they are, they're taking it at very high price ranges. So we kind of wanted to make the digital synth that can kind of answer to what software can do now.
One of the things to me, because I'm a keyboard player, you've put a polyphonic aftertouch keybed in this thing with a ribbon strip.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I've got a Prophet T8 at home, and to me, I've always loved the feel of that keybed. I've loved the polyphonic aftertouch. You can take a very basic sound and turn it into something really expressive and really fun. Like this sound here, I specifically made the simplest sound I could make on preset 1. So it's basically just one oscillator, sawtooth wave, into a filter. And the beauty is you can sit here and play a chord and just arpeggiate the chord by just the pressure in the thing. Poly aftertouch is one of those things that I've always loved. I've tried to get it many times. There's not anybody else that seems to be able to do this right now.
I don't expect you to know why, but do you have any?
Actually, I do know why. Since we've developed it, there's a lot to it. It's easy. The technology behind it's very easy, but making it work right is very difficult. There's a lot with the mechanical aspects of it that you have to try multiple iterations of. It gets very expensive. There's not many people that can afford tooling a keybed to begin with. Tooling a keybed is very expensive. And then when you start trying to just like experiment with things and see what does work and what doesn't work, it gets expensive. And you got to spend a lot of time and effort. And the parent company that we work with, they make keybeds. They've been making keybeds for a long time. They make keybeds that are in a lot of products there's products here at this show that are using their keybeds that nobody knows about. So they have the ability to do that kind of stuff and create a nice feeling, good quality keybed, but then also give us that poly aftertouch. But we took multiple iterations to get it where it felt right, where it's got the right amount of throw. So much aftertouch that you feel anymore, even mono aftertouch, it goes from off to on. You know, you push on it and it's like, oh, it's almost like a switch.
Yeah.
But you have to have a bit of a travel and a throw to it to
Get
make
that
it really
expression.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, I played it. It feels really good. As far as the processor goes, because yesterday you were saying this is like your own.
Yeah. So everybody is going, oh, it must be FPGA or something. No, it's not FPGA. The parent company, again, they design their own CPUs. So they've got the processor that has their own GSP. It's our own proprietary chip. All of the code in this thing is actually written in assembly language. So it's really tight, really compact, really fast. That's the only way that we're able to do all the kind of processing that we're able to do, in a single chip system like this, and keep it at the price point that we're at.
What are the oscillators? I mean, describe the oscillators to me.
The oscillators, they use single cycle waveforms, and you can run just as a single cycle type of thing. So we've got 219 different single cycle waves, all kinds of fun looking shapes. With a single cycle wave, when you get past a certain number, maybe 100 or 2, the waves start to sound alike. But there's some that we have that have very subtle differences, and where it becomes interesting is in our wave scan mode, where you can then put different waves in order the way that you want. So I've got the saw, so now I've got that one, and then number 2, we'll go with that. So I've just got 2 waves in my wave table now. So.
And you're scanning through those.
Yeah, and you can scan between them. And then I can modulate that, of course, with probably Aftertouch. Any of the 5 envelopes, any of the 5 LFOs, the ribbon in multiple different ways. The ribbon has multiple modes of operation in the mod matrix.
And the mod matrix is quite extensive.
Oh yeah, it's 32-point mod matrix. I think my Oberheim expander had 20 points in its mod matrix. So yeah, 32 points in the mod matrix. You can do a whole lot of stuff with it. None of our sound designers filled up the mod matrix yet, so.
And you'd think, with that extensive a mod matrix, there's not a lot of controls here, but you've kind of come up with a method to make all those parameters and things easily accessible.
Yeah, that started off kind of with Dominic's vision. So Dominic gets credit for that aspect of it. Then we modified it and moved it around a little bit. But yeah, Dominic was the guy who started that. So it really works out well. You can be driving with both hands. You can choose your module, turn your parameters, choose a module, turn parameters. It's very fast to use.
Show how that works, because you've got all of these things labeled, and then.
Yeah, so if I hit envelope 3, all your main parameters are going to come up directly here. So your attacks, decay, sustain, release, delay, hold. Then you've got a second page of where you've got the curves for attack, decay, release. Then you've got your trigger modes and stuff here, your envelope looping. So you've got 2 pages on the envelope. So we don't have lots of pages on things, and we did shortcuts. So if I want to go to page 2 of envelope 3, yeah, if I've got 2 hands here, I can do it like that pretty quickly. Or if I know that, I just want to do the slope, and it's on page 2, I just hit the button twice and I'm on that second page. So yeah, if I know I need page 3 on the mixer, I just triple tap it real quick and I'm there.
And then your 8 knobs here.
And then all the 8 knobs there change the parameters. You've also got the LED rings so that you can kind of quickly look down and just see it without having to try to read your parameters too much.
That was another thing I noticed as I was playing it. There's a lot of visual feedback actually as you're playing it.
Oh yeah. We got lots of visual feedback. To me, that's the biggest thing is looking at this one sound here, you can see the LFOs flashing. You can see the rates that the LFOs are flashing. If we go to LFO 4 and change its rate, we'll make it up around there. So now you can see LFO 4 is moving pretty fast, LFO 1. We'll do envelopes. Same thing with envelopes. So I'll set that to about 2 seconds up, 3 seconds down. So envelope 4, now when I hit a note, you'll see it fade up, and then you'll see it fade down in the color. So you've got a lot of visual feedback. When you start, I'll just turn the knob at random here for a different patch. I can see what's going on. You know, my amplitude envelope, I can see how it's dying out. I can see how my filter envelope's dying out. I can see my rates on my LFOs. You know, you get a lot of feedback on the sound.
I had a question about the name Hydra.
Hydrasynth, Hail Hydrasynth, yeah. It started off as the name Hydro, you know, water wave, wavetables, that kind of thing. And so it kind of didn't really roll off the tongue well, so because of the fact that it was doing wavetables, you can do FM, our crazy different pulse width mod modes and stuff on it. I said, well, it can do a whole lot of things. It's more like, you know, the Hydra, the beast with many heads on it. And so we kind of came up with Hydrasynth from that.
I imagined Hercules
Yeah,
playing here.
The hardest thing of designing a synth is naming the synth. Forget all the other stuff. It's the silk screen you put here. That's the hardest thing.
There you go. All the work went into that.
Yeah, that's where all the work is.
And, you know, you can see right here on the panel, there's CV gate. You've got inputs, outputs.
Yeah, multiple inputs, multiple outputs for the CVs. So you can use this as a modulation source for your modulars, or you can bring your modulars into it as a modulation source.
So do these outputs then you can send anything from your mod matrix out? Or?
Yeah, so in the mod matrix, I can go through here. We can go assign, and let's go assign like envelope 4, and then we'll take it. We can assign it to MIDI CCs, or we can send it to like CV mod out 1, and we can set the amount. So, you know, and of course I could send multiple devices to that same output.
If you have, say, for example, like
negative or positive.
Yeah, so for example, if you're using the LFO3 and you're assigning it to one of your CV outs, can you have it just go to CV and not control your patch, or both?
Totally.
Or
both, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can go pick another one. I can go back to a LFO3, and now it's controlling the oscillator 2 wave.
Oh, so
it's going out and in at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do things like we can go take the mod in 1 and send it back out the mod out 1 if we want. And then you could process that mod amount via another slot here. So we could, let's go choose, let's say we had the pitch wheel, go into the mod matrix, and that's mod matrix 0.12. So we go mod matrix 0.12, and now our pitch wheel is going to be controlling the mod level of mod in 1 to mod out 1.
Wow.
So it becomes its own processor.
You could just use this thing and not even touch the keys if you want.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's kind of the thing with the desktop, is the desktop makes a great companion for somebody who's doing modular stuff.
So what's the difference as far as, I mean, I know there's no keyboard, there's no ribbon.
Yeah, no pitch and mod wheels, but you've got poly aftertouch pads still. You turn those down a little bit.
And the light here doesn't show, I'm kind of losing my colors. But,
yeah, of course.
But you were showing me before, like you can, the different configurations for your pad controller too.
Yeah, so in the pads you can choose different layouts for the pads, and it shows the different modes up here in the screen. So that was the chromatic mode. We can go to a fretboard, so it's like a guitar tuning of in fourths. So if you know guitar chords, you can voice your guitar chords across it. Then you've got octave modes. And I'll pick a different scale. Let's pick whatever that is, Locrian. So that's an octave mode. And then octave rows. So now you've got your octaves vertically here. So there's a few different ways to play it, and yeah, again, you can sit there and choose different scales. and octave transpose.
The filters, you were telling me there was a really interesting
Yeah,
approach to the filters.
Our resident genius, Chen, who's the engineer, he came up with a way to do the filters. So we've got a number of different models of filters here, 11 different ones right now. So with the multiple models of filters, you record, we kind of picked out a bunch of filters we like. You record 11 positions on the cutoff, 11 positions of resonance, all the combinations thereof, and gave him the files. And he came out of an AI machine learning background. So he wrote this program that takes all these audio files and then creates this algorithm based on machine learning of these audio files. So it's created all these templates that we have here. So we've got kind of your typical ladder, low pass in 12 and 24. They're uncompensated ladder types. We've got compensated ladder types, low pass gate, it's a nice warm sound, kind of a peaky MS-20 type of sound, low and high. The three-layer filter, one of our beta testers, Ken Flux Pierce, said, "Oh, dude, you got to have the three-layer filter." I'm like, "Okay, what's that?" And it's a Ian Fritz modular design, and it's a brilliant sounding filter. I got to order one for my modular. I'd suggest you do too. But when you kick the resonance up, it boosts all the low-end frequencies. So it's just this huge sounding filter. I could probably, let me just initialize a patch real quick. So we just got a straight sawtooth wave. And so as I kick up the resonance, I'll just do a single. So that's just our low pass ladder. See, the low pass gate's a lot warmer kind of sound.
Yeah.
A little peakier on the MS. And then the three-layer, just huge sounding. So we got a couple different variations on the three-layer, a band pass, a high pass, and then we've got our vowel filter. Chin again said, "Oh, I can do a vowel filter. Do you want it?" And Dominic was like, "Yeah." So you can change the vowel shape or the order of the vowel, and then the format control. And then he said, "Oh, what order of vowels do you want?" And I said, "Well, can we get a whole bunch of different orders?" And he said, "Yeah, sure." So we've got about 8 different orders of the vowels. So it makes it kind of extra fun. Yeah. And then one thing we almost have never talked about yet in any of the videos so far is the drive. So we've got pre-filter drive. And it really just thickens up the sound a lot. And you can set the drive pre or post filter.
So you can really push this thing.
Yeah, you can really make the filters, they just round out and get real thick and solid feeling. So.
Oh, the Arpeggiator.
Arpeggiator.
Yeah, so you've got, there's a ratchet on this Arpeggiator.
Yeah, it's in case you have to tighten a loose nut. We got the ratchet on there. So,
there's a lot of knobs around here. There's bound to be some loose nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll just do a quick little thing on it. And we'll use the vocal filter because it's fun. Maybe adjust volume. Okay, so on the ratcheting, you can I'll set my chance of ratcheting to 0. So I can turn up the ratcheting, you're not going to get anything because you got a 0 probability. But if I turn up the probability, then you can hear it's changing up the pattern in a random function, and it's just doubling up some notes right here. And the higher I turn this up, it'll now go up to, I think, 4 or 8 times speed, depending on your time division settings that you have. And if I turn the chance up to 100%, you're going to get different ratcheting all the time. But it's kind of most interesting, you know, back in this setting here, where it just kind of, it'll happen every now and then on you, and it's kind of a nice little surprise.
It's a little extra.
Yeah, yeah. And all those things then can be modulated again in the mod matrix. So I might want the ratcheting and the probability to come in and out. So maybe I'll use a LFO, and I can set up kind of a step sequencer in the LFO and have it kind of come in at different points and times. Same thing with like modulating your gate times. You might want to modulate a gate time off of a moving LFO so that that your gates are changing. I mean, we can do that even quickly too. So I'll put my gate at 0. I'll go into my mod matrix. I'm going to assign, let's do LFO4 at 5. And I'm going to do LFO5 in a positive, unipolar. And then we're going to go to the ARP, and we'll go to the gate time. Now right now the LFO is being re-triggered, so I'll take off the trigger. And I'll slow it down. So you can hear the gate time getting longer.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And again, you can see the LFO speed. You can see it's pretty slow. So it just gives you a lot of ways to play with it. Changing the mode in the Arpeggiator is a lot of fun with LFOs or envelopes. One thing in the ARP that we did, the way that we kind of implemented it, was, again, I'll just initialize the program. The way that we did this was that if I just play 3 notes, you're going to get 3 notes. But if I'm holding notes and I hit another note down, then it will double it up. So I'll hit the G again. Hold my latch down.
So you're actually adding notes to the arpeggio.
Yeah, so I can sit here. I just hit the G a bunch of times. So as long as I'm holding it, I can be adding different notes to the arpeggiation.
But you can also add the same note. So
I can add the same note
which
again.
is different.
What'll make, yeah, so it'll just double up that one note. So turn a 3-note thing into a 4-note pattern. And then you can change the pattern length as well, so that makes it kind of interesting too. So if I get a longer pattern, I can go in, and I've got the default. So if we always want it to be 7 steps long, I can play a whole lot of things, and it's going to repeat after 7 steps.
It's almost like a little step sequencer in a sense.
Yeah, it's like one that you can perform on though.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why we put knobs up here, and arpeggiators are fun. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the effects section, it's pretty extensive actually.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and we've got really good sounding effects. They're not just like a throw on. So you got pre-effects, you've got a post-effects, you got a delay and a reverb. So the pre-effects or post-effects have all the same effects. So you've got a chorus, you got a flanger, rotary, a phaser, a lo-fi, tremolo, EQ, and a compressor. So we'll kind of go back over here to the chorus, and I'll dial it up. So yeah, you can do a lot in the chorus. I'm going to go all the way down to the compressor, kind of show. We have side chaining built in on the compressor. And you can choose BPM, so it's going to work off the clock that we have in the arpeggiator. And you can set your depth and your release times in it. The other parts of the ducking is you can do a tap tempo. So the sidechain will be off the tap. And then you can choose mod in and mod 2. So if you want, you've got a kick drum you want to send into it to duck it. You can be
you can actually use
you can be sidechaining off of your mod inputs because they do accept audio rate signals in there. So you've got those same effects pre and post. So yeah, that's pretty much the Hydrasynth.
When's it available?
It should hit stores November 1st.
And at a price of?
Street price of $12.99 on the keyboard, $7.99 on the desktop.
That's great. Thanks, Glenn.
All right, and you should meet Dominic.
Thanks, guys.
So Dominic's the other one.